Want to stay informed, get educated, and feel empowered? Stay tuned where information is power.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Welcome to Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The Center for Democracy and Good Governance is a sound organization established to promote and strengthen democracy.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
There are some interesting specials available at Country Cold Store's Mini Mart while stocks last. Take advantage of these specials as they assist you to stretch your limited funds.
The Country Cold Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
Need a personal integrity booster shot? Your prescription is right here. Tune in with Eddie Frederick every week. Information is power.
Attention all forward-thinking companies. Sure, you can do with a continuous positive boost to your image and impact your bottom line. If you think training is expensive, try not training and you will experience a perpetual downward spiral in patronage on account of increased dissatisfied customers. Take things into your hands and engage the best at motivation and customer care training with a tried and tested track record. Visit www.efrederick.com now and learn how you can change the atmosphere in your business and improve the customer experience for everyone who does business with you. Spice Island Beach Resort and Belmont Estate are two such local entities of world renown that have benefited tremendously from ongoing customer care, social skills, and motivation training. Training changes everything for the better for any business and every team member. Enhance employee performance through increased awareness and passion for the job at hand. Greater potential in your workforce awaits you through engaged, high-energy training that works. Log on now, www.efrederick.com.
Eddie Frederick has got it all.
You're listening to Eddie Frederick, where good values make great radio.
Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Wonderful, folks. Wonderful, wonderful. So welcome to this first edition of Edification for 2026, and of course our 300th altogether. Happy New Year to you, one and all. What a privilege it is for those of us who have made it to this new year indeed. You know, when we took our first breath, we must never really take these things for granted. When we took our first breath on 1st January 2026, there were so many who took their last on that same day. Therein lies reason to be thankful indeed. Come on, folks, as soon as you enter the room, do the honorable thing. Share, comment, like, love, subscribe, and even follow. Do what you must to ensure that you actually are included, of course, in the positive vibes shared during edification. And of course, this being a weekly program, just do what you must to make sure that we are heard and, of course, people enjoy and become edified, so to speak. Now, we who love to consider ourselves followers of Christ, Christians in other words, must remember that God has already prepared the way. Now he's preparing for us the journey. 2025 would have tried many of us. We fought wars nobody saw, wiped our own tears. We remained standing when we could have folded. 2026, we need to put everything in God's hands because God is the only reason we are still here to tell the story. It is my prayer that you are more than ready to say a final goodbye to all the drama and all the pain of 2025. Welcome to peace, joy, and miracles that you prayed for in 2026. Our discourse today will be guided by the following. Karma sees it all and never forgets. 2026, the year of either release or more of the same. It's all up to you. Folks, the present is a gift that you give yourself. Make it count. Eckhart Tolle, a renowned existentialist, is author of several books, one of which is The Power of Now. Trust me, folks, if you get this book and read it, you will never view time in context of past, present, and future again. Karma is now. Why 2026 will be decided by what you do today. You will learn to appreciate now, as we all have only now to account for. All we've got, folks, is the present. Make use of your todays so that what we call tomorrow will be taken care of. That statement, karma sees it all and never forgets. That statement vibrates with the truth of a people who feel history's weight. It speaks of a reckoning deferred but not denied. And yes, 2026, probably the year our next electoral verdict may very well be delivered, is framed as a moment of judgment, release, or more of the same. You see, there is a profound danger in this framing. It can make us passive. It can make us believe that karma is a cosmic judge who will descend in 2026 to reward or even to punish, freeing us from the hard work of today. Oh no. This is a misunderstanding with costly consequences. National karma is not mystical. It is actually more mechanical. It is the direct, unavoidable outcome of daily choices made by citizens, leaders, and even institutions. The mediocre service, the unfulfilled promises, the crumbling infrastructure. This is not bad luck, folks. This is the yield from seeds that we've allowed to be sown, seeds of apathy, of that's just how it is, of trading long-term progress for short-term favors. So when we say it's all up to you, that is the stark and liberating truth. But you must not mean you alone, despairing in private. Oh no. It must be us, US, a collective, organized, and unwavering force. Here is what it means. Redefine release. Release in 2026 will not come from simply voting for one group and voting against another. We've seen that movie already. It ends the same. True release will come from voting in, again, the new system intent on much needed transformation and staying committed to it. This means that in 2026, we, the people, must draft the blueprint for that system, a citizen's charter for governance that every candidate must publicly commit to. It mandates transparent procurement, independent service delivery audits, the civil service and security forces promotions based on merit, not political party connections. Release is structural, not symbolic. We want you to become the karma you speak of. Karma in a society is the immediate consequence of our collective tolerance or our collective intolerance. As a consumer, when you receive poor service, do you quietly accept it? Or do you clearly state why your patronage is leaving and taking it where excellence lives? Every dollar spent is a vote to keep the business alive and open. And when you withdraw that dollar, they get very close to closing. You see, as a citizen, when a government office disrespects your time, do you sigh and return tomorrow? Or do you formally log the incident, copy the supervisor, and share factually the experience on social media and name and shame those responsible? Take pictures of them too, or even videos with them talking nonsense for you. You see, sunlight is karma's agent, and we should not be afraid to actually use it. As a professional, do you do just enough in a broken system? Or do you perform with integrity, becoming a node of excellence that forces others to rise or be exposed? You see, the countdown to 2026 experience begins every day henceforth, not in 2025. If we wait until the election campaign to demand change, we will be presented with the usual packaged promises. The real work is now. It is actually in joining or forming community councils focused on specific issues. Example, the St. George's Public Service Accountability Coalition. Sounds good, huh? Use the Access to Information Act, not as a weapon, but as a standard tool to understand how decisions are made and money is spent. Mentoring a young folks, using in civic, engagement, these young people, so they see public life as what? A domain for builders, not just critics who pose as what you call them, advocates. Nonsense. Karma never forgets. It remembers the meeting you skipped. It remembers the corrupt act you dismissed as small. It remembers the brilliant idea you were too cynical to support. It also remembers the time you spoke up, the standard you upheld, and the neighbor you mobilized. You see, this 2026 will not be a year of either or. 2026 will be a mirror. It will reflect exactly what we as a collective national body practiced from the beginning to its end. Will we practice discipline? Then we will see efficiency. Will we practice courage? Then we will see accountability. Will we practice unity of purpose? Then we will see transformation. You see, the ledger is open. The entries are being made every single day. It is indeed all up to us. Let us ensure that when 2026 reads our account, it does so with respect. You see, the karma of a nation, why 2026 hinges on collective will, not cosmic justice. You see, the sentiment that 2026 hinges on collective will, not cosmic justice, is potent. It's visceral, meaning instinctual, and it speaks to a deep, simmering frustration. Karma sees it all and never forgets. It is the cry of a citizenry that feels history is a ledger, recording every act of negligence, every betrayal of public trust, every moment of complacency. And 2026 could very well be the next electoral reckoning, which looms as the day of settlement, a year of either release or more of the same. But this framing, while emotionally resonant, contains a dangerous fallacy. It suggests a passive waiting for a cosmic balancing of scales, as if the national destiny is a verdict to be delivered rather than a choice to be made. In between is, of course, the geopolitics all around us, which is above the level of many of our people's understanding, thanks to their penchant to dismiss things and take life for granted. You see, the truth is, karma is not fate. It is consequence, to do and to get. In the context of a nation, karma is the inescapable outcome of selective action and inaction. The abysmal service we endure just about everywhere across Grenada is not bad luck. It is the consequence of systems we have tolerated. Because in the end, people do what they are allowed. You see, the political stagnation is not a curse. It is the consequence of abysmally poor electoral choices made without demanding transformative covenants. The private sector's complacency is the consequence of a consumer base that complains but does not collectively redirect its spending. To view 2026 as a year of release implies a singular, cathartic, liberating event, an election that will purify the system. This is the cycle that has failed us, the fervent hope that swapping one administration for another will break the pattern, only to find the machinery of mediocrity remains intact, merely supervised by different hands at the political level. You see, the release we seek cannot come from a single day of voting. It must come from, if it's 2 years, we have to go 730 days between now and then of relentless, focused, and strategic civic engagement. Conversely, more of the same is not a preordained sentence. Oh no. It is the default outcome of a disengaged, disillusioned, and fragmented populace. It is what happens when we believe the power lies entirely up there with them, and not in here, with and among us. It's all up to you is the critical, liberating, and terrifying hinge of this whole equation. So what does you mean? It must shift from the individual to the collective. The you as organized citizen. You see, the year 2026 will only bring release if in the past we built more than political parties. We have built citizens' assemblies, sector-specific watchdog groups, and non-partisan platforms that draft and demand signatures on a Grenada Covenant for Governance. This covenant would not be a manifesto of promises, but a binding set of service delivery standards, transparency mechanisms, and anti-corruption protocols that every candidate must adopt to earn a vote. The you, as discerning consumers, you see, karma in the marketplace is swift and decisive. Businesses that offer contemptible service fail. But this only works if we, as consumers, wield our collective economic power. We must actively and publicly champion exemplary businesses and withdraw our patronage from the substandard, not with silent dissatisfaction, but with clear public communication as to why. I have been withdrawing my patronage from a number of businesses, as I do not see the need to pay to be tortured. Hell no. If more people would do that, we would see lots more brick and mortar operations shutting down in Grenada daily. The rest will get the message to put up or end up shutting down too. The you as a professional with integrity. You see, in every government office and private firm, there are those who do their jobs with pride and must be commended. What a pity they are so little in numbers. They are the seeds of the new culture that we desire as a people. They must be supported, protected, and amplified. Professional associations must loudly advocate for meritocracy and shame the practices of nepotism and corner cutting. You see, the karma awaiting us in 2026 is already being written today in the meetings we choose not to attend, the shoddy service we quietly accept, the corrupt practice we dismiss as how things work and this is how we does do things here, the brilliant, ethical young professional we drive to migrate in despair, the vote we cast based on tribal loyalty rather than a clean, measurable plan for systemic change. So therefore, folks, let us reframe the prophecy. 2026 will not be a year of release or more of the same. 2026 will be the harvest of the seeds we planted in 2024 and 2025. If we plant seeds of apathy, cynicism, and division, we will harvest a bitter crop of the familiar stagnation that many of us seem to be happy in. If we plant seeds of organized demand, unwavering standards, and a new civic contract, we will harvest the release we crave. You see, karma does not forget. I must remind you, it is the eternal ledger of our national character. Let us fill the next 2 years with entries of discipline, courage, accountability, and a fierce, unyielding love for a Grenada that operates as excellently as its people are capable of and truly deserve. Folks, the clock is ticking. The ledger is open. It is indeed up to all of us. You see, karma sees it all and never forgets. 2026, the year of either release or more of the same. It's really all up to us. Folks, let's take a little break and we'll come right back with a lot more.
Want to stay informed, get educated, and feel empowered? Stay tuned, where information is power.
Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is EDDIE-FICATION, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during EDDIE-FICATION are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and/or affiliates of this program.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
There are some interesting specials available at Country Cold Store's Mini Mart while stocks last. Take advantage of these specials as they assist you to stretch your limited funds.
The Country Cool Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
You're tuned to Eddie Frederick, where information is power.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Wonderful, folks. Wonderful. So here we are again. For those of you just joining, I'd like to say welcome. Happy New Year to you. And of course, bid you to do the normal thing, share, and make sure some of the people you have not seen in the room, you know what to do. Give them a little tag, a little nudge, copy and share with them, okay? Folks, welcome back. As the second quarter, folks, of the 21st century commences, and here we are in Grenada still marking time while being treated with contempt that naturally follows our penchant for mediocrity. You see, abysmally poor service has been normalized in Grenada, with just about everybody accepting things the way they are. The system does not budge to make the necessary changes to improve anything, whether in the private or public sector. This thing is becoming a crisis. The more government changes, the more things remain the same, with the day-to-day operators of the system who seem stuck in what's comfortable for them, proving, of course, how many of them are in over their heads with the positions they hold. An era of excellence demands an end to the era of excuses. Grenada at the 21st century's crossroads. You see, 3 days ago, we did not merely turn a calendar page. We symbolically crossed a threshold into the second quarter of the 21st century. The first 25 is gone. This is the first year of the second 25 to take us to 2050. This is an age defined by artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and private space flight. Yet here in Grenada, we are told to be content with the indifferent shrug of a public servant, the broken promise of a contractor, the institutional paralysis that has become more national characteristic, the total indifference from servers at many restaurants and places that depend solely on customers for their very survival. The contempt is real, folks, but it is not merely external. It is the contempt born of self-betrayal, of a nation settling for far less than its people are capable of and truly deserve. The normalization of abysmal service in both public and private sectors is a profound moral and economic failure. But you know what is important? Sometimes you actually could see and witness for yourself managers and even owners participating in this abysmal service. It is the cashier you see chatting on the phone or viewing reels while a line forms with no care. But where's the supervisor? No care. The government department that loses an application for the third time. The finance company that treats the customers as a nuisance. And the contractor who leaves a job half finished, but bad for your money. We have not just accepted it, we have bureaucratized it, creating systems where accountability evaporates and mediocrity is protected by a maze of procedures and a culture of that's just how it is. What is pathetic is that workplaces that are unionized are terrorized by unions, either by shop stewards who are paid employees but whose loyalty is to the union and not to the place from which they receive their monthly income, or otherwise by unions who unilaterally take action to protect nonsense in the workplace by their members. A most damning observation for folks. The more government changes, the more things remain the goddamn same. That cuts to the heart of our political malaise. We swap political colors, exchange personalities in ministerial offices, and engage in the theater of elections. Yet the underlying engine of the state remains rusty, unreformed, and unresponsive. This is where we, the people, have to take responsibility. We allow it. Our managers and leaders in just about every sphere of life are wanting. They are happy to show up and bask in the niceties of the position, posing with new vehicles, cushy office spaces, nice house to live in, designer clothes, and talk with boasts about their multiple trips abroad, while the actual position benefits little to nothing from their existence in the position. In the public sector, our politics is too often about the distribution of posts rather than the transformation of systems. Each new administration inherits and perpetuates the same cumbersome machinery, using it not to drive development, but to dispense patronage to people who continue to prove that they are just not able for the most part, thereby ensuring the cycle of poor service continues. Folks, this is a crisis that we, the people, must arrest, and we must demand address of it. The private sector often mirroring this culture and reliant on government contracts. They are complicit, with too many exceptions proving the rule of excellence. You see, but why this paralysis? You see, several cancers eat at our collective resolve. The cult of the small. You see, we have mistaken small island for small ambitions. We use our size as an excuse for inefficiency, when it should be our greatest asset for agility, community cohesion, and rapid innovation and forward movement. Look at Singapore and what that small city-state was able to do over its 60 years of independence. Total transformation to become a first world country with no resources other than strong visionary leadership through and through with good people. The absence of a meritocracy in too many spheres. Who you know trumps what you know and how well you perform. You see, this demoralizes the competent and rewards the connected, draining institutional vitality. A toxic level of tolerance Our famed Caribbean patience has curdled into passive acceptance. We complain in private, in taxis, in the buses, and at rum shops, but we rarely demand accountability as a unified public. The few of us who do are branded disagreeable. And we can hear, what do he, what do she? At first he think he could tell people what he want. At first she thinks she could tell people what they want. Our social media is ablaze with outrage, but it seldom coalesces into organized, sustained civic action. You see, crossing into this new quarter century requires not just a gentle nudge, but a fundamental rupture from this settled state. We must launch a national culture of standards. This begins with a societal shift. Consumers must loudly withdraw their business from the substandard businesses whose employees insist on terrorizing them. Citizens must document and publicly, persistently demand better from public servants, not as adversaries, but as taxpayers funding their salaries. We must celebrate and patronize businesses that exemplify excellence, making them the norm, not the exception. We need to demand systemic, not cosmetic, political change. We must stop voting for personalities and start voting for specific, measurable governance plans. We must ask every candidate, what will you do to dismantle the bureaucracy of mediocrity? How will you institute transparent performance metrics for ministries? How will you protect civil servants who innovate and fire those who sabotage public service as instructed by their former masters, who they remain ever loyal to for giving them their big break? We must empower the competent. In every office, school, and department, there are frustrated individuals yearning to do better. They need to be identified, protected, and promoted. We need whistleblower protections and innovation awards within the public service. We need to leverage technology for transparency. Every government service should have a trackable online application system with clear timelines and accountability officers. Public dashboards showing ministry performance metrics should be commonplace. Sunlight is the best disinfectant for the gloom of poor service. You see, the second quarter of the 21st century does not ask for participation, it demands it. The world is accelerating, and our diaspora, our tourists, and our investors will not wait for us to overcome our self-imposed inertia. They will simply go where excellence is expected and delivered. Is there any secret why people are attracted to Barbados? No. Is there any secret why they're attracted to the Bahamas? No. Grenada's potential is not just in its pristine beaches or fertile soil, but in the unmatched spirit of its people. That spirit is currently in chains, forged by low expectations and learned helplessness, which they had a whole 1995 to 2022 for the most part to perfect. You see, the first step of breaking free is the collective furious, refusal to accept things the way they are. I always tell participants at workshops that I conduct from time to time that when Grenada was adjudged to probably the most hospitable destination in the entire Caribbean, parents used to train their children. Today, parents are spending more time training their dogs and tying them up and keeping them home, and not training their children and letting them loose on society. Folks, as we stand at this chronological frontier, the choice is stark. Will we mark time, or will we finally, decisively make up for lost time? 52nd year of independence, And what do we have to show except a flag and anthem? The new era began 3 days ago, folks. Let our new resolve begin today. You know what they say? The best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. But the next best time is now. What do you say to people in Grenada who do not understand, folks, modern trends when it comes to shopping, especially online? Online has become the in thing these days, and bricks and mortar establishments are closing down all over the world. Besides, people have been getting to avoid the exorbitant markups by many of these said stores and establishments by shopping directly at source and through Amazon, so to speak. We have people in Grenada who shop through the Chinese equivalent, Alibaba. This is a very real and valid concern, and it's important to address it with empathy, clarity, and respect for both tradition and progress. So here's what you might say to the people in Grenada who are navigating this shift. First, let's acknowledge something important. Your hesitation or confusion about this shift towards online shopping is completely understandable. For generations, shopping has been a social, tangible evidence, going to the town, seeing the goods, speaking with the shopkeeper, and even supporting local families that you know. It's part of our community's fabric. The trend you're seeing, stores closing worldwide, and everyone talking about buying online, isn't about saying the original way was wrong. It is a massive global shift in technology and habits, much like the move from markets to supermarkets years ago. So why are people turning online? Here are some of the reasons, I believe. Perceived savings and even access. People see lower prices on global sites like Amazon, Alibaba, or when buying direct from source, avoiding multiple markups. They also get access to millions of items that simply can't fit on a small island like ours. What about convenience? Shopping from home and having it delivered to your door is appealing, especially for those with busy lives or limited mobility. You know what it is to take your lunch hour to go and make a purchase? Folks, you see where this is going? And you spend more of that time fighting up with a rude employee or waiting an inordinate amount of time to get attended to while witnessing the owner, the manager, and employees busy ponging somebody's business in the corner in a hot, juicy chat. Folks, that's not easy, you know. And when people ain't go by them, they're vexed. Folks, this is an example I gave you here that I personally experienced, you know. The owner, the manager, and a bacchanal lady that walk in just like them, because the owner and the manager is two bacchanalists. And people in the store totally ignored. Totally ignored. You wonder, what is this about? And then they complain that business bad. Y'all could call name, I'll whistle, because that just looked like one person or one kind of person. Choice and comparison, folks. It is easier to compare prices, read reviews, and find exactly what you want. But this doesn't mean our local bricks and mortar stores are without hope or value. You see, the strength is something the internet can never replace. Immediate gratification. What you buy, you get today. What about personal relationships and trust? You know who you're buying from. They may offer credit, personal recommendations, or even after-sale service. Community investment. Money spent locally circulates locally, supporting jobs, families, and our own economy. When we buy local, we invest in Grenada. You see, tangible experience is the next one. Feeling the fabric, trying on the shoe, smelling the spice, tasting a little sample that you may get. That's irreplaceable. The challenge for our local businesses is to adopt these practices and do them with finesse. They also need to adapt, not disappear. Many around the world are blending the best of both, offering click and collect while you order online and pick up locally, creating their own Facebook, Instagram pages, or simply websites to showcase products like Seasons Fashions in St. George's. I really admire them. Focusing on unique, locally made goods, spices, crafts, foods, services that you can't get on Amazon. Become innovative now, emphasizing superior personal customer service that big websites can't match. To you as a shopper, it's about informed choice. For common standardized goods where price is key, online might save you money, though remember to factor in shipping, duty, and the waiting time. For fresh food, urgent needs, unique Grenadian products, and when you want to keep our community vibrant, our local stores are vital. But what we need is the owner, the manager, and the employees to have respect for the customers, to understand that without customers, they have a shell, they have nothing. Let's support our local businesses by encouraging them to adapt and by choosing them for their excellence when it matters. Let's also keep them honest and make demands for deservedly great service, which you deserve, not as a privilege, but as a right. And let's learn the new online tools together so we can use them wisely without losing what makes our Grenadian marketplace special. The goal isn't to abandon our ways, but to walk wisely into the future, protecting our community while also enjoying the benefits of a connected world. You see, this approach validates their feelings, explains the why behind the trend without dismissing local value, and frames the future for a blend of hybrid model, more or less, rather than a total replacement. It empowers them to make choices and encourages support for local adaptation. But owners and managers of many of our businesses in Grenada need to take stock of themselves, because your employees take their cue from you. Karma sees it all and never forgets. You see, 2026, the year of either release or more of the same. It's all up to all of us. Let's take a little break and we'll come back with our third segment.
Want to stay informed, get educated, and feel empowered? Stay tuned, where information is power.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during edification are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and/or affiliates of this program.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
There are some interesting specials available at Country Cold Store's Mini Mart while stocks last. Take advantage of these specials as they assist you to stretch your limited funds.
The Country Cool Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
You're tuned to Eddie Frederick, where information is power.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Wunderbar, as the Germans would say. Wonderful, wonderful. So let's take in our third segment now. But for those of you who came in late, welcome. You know exactly what to do. Hit that share button and get some more people in the room, because this is quite enlightening for the first program of the year. Very instructive indeed. We have a lot of work to do here, folks. This nonsense about just relaxing and blaming somebody else and all this nonsense. We have to get our program together, man. You know, stop all this, learned helplessness. You know, we just sit there and we expect to be helped. Just like that, for doing nothing. And then on top of that, we have no goddamn gratitude, no appreciation. Some of us have children who seem to have had they went and studied and they get a PhD in ingratitude. Good. And then we let them loose on society. Oh, Gid, that's what it is. So when small men begin to cast big shadows, folks, it means the sun is about to set. You see this proverb? This proverb, folks, is rich in metaphorical meaning. And its interpretation seems to hinge on an interplay of small men, big shadows, and of course, the setting sun. Let's first look at the core metaphor, the setting sun. You see, the setting sun usually symbolizes the end of an era, decline, or impending fall. A shadow represents influence, power, or the perception of greatness. But it is an insubstantial copy, not the real thing. The size of a person here refers to their moral stature, their wisdom, or true merit, not physical size. You see, the decline of institutions and order over time has proved us folks to be a civilization that is truly wanting. This is the most common interpretation. When a society or institution is healthy and at its peak, the high noon of its power, that is, true giants, people of great talent, great integrity, and great vision naturally rise to prominence and cast long shadows. But as the institution begins to decay and sunset approaches, you know what goes on. The standards erode. Folks, and we had a whole 23 years of that crap. 1995 to 2022, for the most part. You see, this creates a power vacuum where mediocrity, petty or corrupt individuals, small men, can attain positions of outsized influence. In other words, their influence is not in proportion to their capacity. Their big shadows are a distortion, a sign that the system that once magnified true greatness is now broken and magnifying miscreants, the unworthy, in other words. We have witnessed this firsthand here in Grenada between 1995 and 2022 for the most part. So much so, many of us are asking, where all the good men and women gone? The answer is simple. Several were emasculated over that extended period, so much so, others went into hiding, never to rise again. Very few men had the testicular fortitude to stand up and be counted, and were vilified and maligned by the many who are today asking how and when Grenada became the way it is. While such people were benefiting from the largesse that they were receiving, they turned a blind eye and do not realize that it is that very nature of their kind that caused our civilization to slip to this all-time low today. The illusion of power, folks. You see, the proverb warns that a big shadow is an illusion. A small man only casts a long shadow when the light source, the sun, is low on the horizon. His apparent power is not intrinsic, but a trick of timing and circumstance. It is a fleeting phenomenon, and the coming night, collapse, obscurity, reckoning that is, will erase that illusion. His prominence is itself a symptom of ending, not beginning. We need to be warned about perspective or even hubris, excessive pride and arrogance. From the perspective of the small man, casting a big shadow might feel like true achievement and power. The proverb is a sobering reminder to both the actor and the observer. This is not a sign of personal greatness, but a historical signal that the cycle is ending. It cautions against mistaking the shadow for substance, as many of you tend to do. Look, you have people coming from oh-he-oh-ho. You look online and you see how many offers you could get for honorary PhD, fast-track PhD, masters in 6 months. Are these institutions that are offering these things, are they properly accredited? Oh no, but you ain't care about that because your ability at analytical thinking is zero. They come and they pelt a PhD in your face and you call them doctor, just all of a sudden doctor. And they're happy for you to call them that. All that time they fool you good and proper. Folks, there is this historical or cyclical view of civilization. You see, thinkers like Eric Hoffer, who popularized this saying, often used it in a historical context. It suggests that in the twilight of a civilization, the quality of its leaders diminishes. The figures who dominate the final act are often tyrants, demagogues, or bureaucrats, small in character, who preside over the final decline. Modern examples can be cited in politics, the rise of populist demagogues in times of national crisis or decline. Very familiar here in Grenada, isn't it? Business, a once great company, in its decline, being run by mediocre managers focused on short-term gains. Very familiar here in Grenada. Culture, when celebrity and notoriety devoid of genuine talent or even contribution becomes the primary source of massive public influence. Very familiar here in Grenada. So in essence, the proverb is a diagnostic tool for decay. It tells us when you see the undeserving and the petty wielding enormous influence, do not merely be angry at them. Recognize this as a profound symptom. It means the systems, the values, and the vitality that once produced and supported true greatness are actually failing. The era is drawing to a close. This is what happens when the enlightened become negligent and decided to fall back without any resistance, thus allowing miscreants and the undeserving of our society to rise to prominence, foisting their low standards on the entire society. Now that they have no influence and no hope of regaining such, they take to the gutter to smear their replacement. We have to stay the course so they can't resettle where they don't belong. We have to stay the course, folks. These people who have been replaced must remain in the lowly drain. And that must be a national commitment each and every one of us must make. Folks, it's a pessimistic but powerful observation about the intimate link between quality of a society's leaders and the health of its societal sun. We who pay attention know that several of these miscreants who eased themselves in between 1995 and 2022 for the most part, because they saw the vacuum and seized the opportunity to come up through the cracks. When change came on June 23rd, 2022, they tried to line up with the new administration and were totally ignored. Some of them whose egos were crushed turned bitter to the point of returning to their vomit and forming strange alliances to beat up on the current administration. They are out in the open for those who have eyes to see. That is precisely why I urge Grenadians, pay attention. Inasmuch as my utterances are detested by many of them, they cannot contradict anything said because it is based on facts every time. And that is why when the argument is lost, the losers, the sore losers, remain where they are in the gutter, and they start slinging mud and slime to see if they can disparage the winners. But as I always remind you, reputation is what others think of you. And it says more about who is doing the slinging than who they are slinging at. While character is who you are. You see, consistency is key, because when you keep your character intact, your reputation will eventually take care of itself. If your memory serves you well, you will recall our last edition hovered around the topic. People show you who they are by what they accept as truth about others, more so when they do not like them. Folks, it is really frightening that so many ignorant people should be allowed to have so much influence in their hands because of access to social media. And of course, the laziness of a great number of us to do our own research in order to maintain independent minds. You see, the version of you that some people talk about either never existed or doesn't exist anymore. You are being judged by people whom you have obviously outgrown because they refuse to grow and stay abreast with the course of true and genuine evolution. Folks, it is my fervent prayer, according to Isaac Ashong, that the gates of wickedness will not prevail against you this year. The God of our universe will build your life to withstand all forms of evil. All you've got to do this year, open your eyes. And with an open mind, you will appreciate all the reality. So stop inviting your own destruction. You will come to realize that true ignorance is not the absence of knowledge, but the refusal to acquire it. And it was Karl Popper who said that. You see, in our neck of the woods, we have to make every effort to get involved and take an active part in our future, for fear that the more of the same we always get will be changed to the desires of our hearts. In this way, we can avoid giving life to Euripides when he said, "When one with honeyed words but evil mind persuades the mob, great woes befall the state." You see, the plethora of fake people who normalize the faking so much that they can't help it when they see what is real. Oh boy, they get really mad. Could you imagine most of these fakes are just simply broke and don't realize that their fakeness is what is causing them to be sidelined and perpetually broke, while their authentic targets are thriving? They even consider the few real people among us as crazy to call them out on their fakeness. Folks, they plead for clemency under the guise that their mental health is fragile and being impacted negatively. 2026 should bring for all of us new beginnings, new mindset, new focus, new start, new intentions, new results. You see, good people have sat by idly, doing nothing for so goddamn long, that evil was allowed to triumph among us, with the effect that those who have recently awakened, yes, are asking how we reach where we are. You see, people like me over the last 40 years who saw the writing on the wall, rang the alarm bells as publicly as I could with disciplined consistency. And what did I get in return? Local political operatives of the inferior elements of influence used the power of state against me, for fear that if I succeeded in impacting our people with wisdom, their days would have been numbered too quickly. In the process, the negligent, the needy, the greedy, and of course the vultures embarked on a free-for-all to inadvertently take this nation down the path where state institutions were all decimated. Hence the application of Edmund Burke's thought: all that is necessary for the triumph of evil is that good men do nothing. And we had so many so-called good people in Grenada who sat idly by and did nothing over the years. I have good reason to abscond from society and cleave to the very few who have been there for me through thick and thin. Up to recently, I used to extol the virtues of my small circle, until I recently took stock and realized, but wait now, it's not a circle after all. It's a line, simply because it's too short to reach back around to join. Goodly folks, when you make that conscious decision to fix your life, always remember, isolation is the price you must be prepared to pay. Nobody seems to warn you about that part, but I will take the time to do so today. Your phone will no longer ring unnecessarily. I know that because that is my ongoing experience. Group chats will go quiet. The people you used to hang around, they start feeling irritated for no reason. Trust your discernment, folks. Not because you're arrogant, but because you can finally see the laziness, the excuses, and how much time was being wasted just to feel included. So you decided to fall back, and people take that personally. They will say, as they are accustomed to saying about people who finally see the light, you're acting funny. You switched up. Nah, you woke up instead. Fixing your life means you stopped numbing yourself with their noise. You stopped hanging around people who no longer serve your purpose. And you stopped explaining why you no longer want to do certain things with your life that serve you no purpose. That's when it started to get really quiet for you. So here's the truth that most people don't want to accept. That loneliness is the toll booth before you get to the next level. It's that pit stop that you must make in order for you to elevate. You don't get discipline, clarity, and respect by remaining around people that only start to benefit from you when you get distracted. Oh no! So in as much as it's quiet right now, and may even feel lonely, good. Transformation in your life has actually started. That silence means you finally chose yourself over comfort. And that's the cost. Folks, karma sees it all and never forgets. So 2026, the year of either release or more of the same. It's all up to each and every one of us. Let's take our final break and we'll come back with our final segment with a lot more.
Want to stay informed, get educated, and feel empowered? Stay tuned where information is power.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This is EDDIE-FICATION, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The strength of views and opinions expressed during EDDIE-FICATION are not necessarily a reflection or representation of the sponsors and/or affiliates of this program.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
There are some interesting specials available at Country Cold Store's Mini Mart while stocks last. Take advantage of these specials as they assist you to stretch your limited funds.
The Country Cold Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
You're tuned to Eddie Frederick, where information is power.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
Oh, yes, folks. Yes. Well, welcome back. And of course, this is our fourth and final segment. It will be a little extended, but I know you'd like that very much. This being our first program for our first edition for 2026 and our 300th altogether, very significant number altogether. I thought I should come out like this to be instructive enough to start the year, to motivate you. Folks, you know, it is actually said, I believe in the Bible somewhere, that if your life impacted one person, just one person, by what you do in your life, it impacted one person, your job on earth is fulfilled, your purpose is fulfilled. Because hopefully that one person could impact another one person. And if everybody could impact one person, oh man, what a wonderful world it could be. But instead, we tend to impact people negatively because that's the path of least resistance. Easy. But folks, I take a lot of time to do what I do because I want to live a meaningful life so that when I reach wherever on the other side, I don't have to answer too many questions about what role I played, if at all any. Welcome back. The hot matter under international discussion, of course, since yesterday morning relates to the U.S. military action in and over Caracas, where Venezuela's President Nicolas Maduro had been captured by U.S. forces in ramped-up military action against that oil-rich South American country. I saw our own qualified Marine pilot, Lazarus Joseph, in a post ask the following question: would there be a shift in the political landscape with Maduro gone? My own retort to that is the following. Of course, there's likely to be some political shifts. For sure, the arrangement between Venezuela and Cuba for oil will have some effect on Cuba with regime change in its South American counterpart. Regimes in the region and otherwise political parties on the fringe of power in the region, whose leadership was seen to be close to Venezuela's Maduro, would probably be financially starved and may not be able to show any money strength on the ground wherever they operate, and could be doomed at the polls when elections are called in their various jurisdictions. For sure, Guyana could have an easier time with its border dispute with Venezuela in light of regime change there. I reserve further comment on this, as what's sweet in goat mouth ends up sour somewhere else. Trinidad may experience a different and more certain arrangement regarding the Dragon Gas deal in compensation for the supportive role played to the U.S. military presence in the region and its fight against drugs and transnational crime. You see, certain regional countries that did not behave overly untoward, but who may very well have had silent agreement with regime change in Venezuela, may benefit from debt forgiveness in context of Petrocaribe oil and gas arrangements under the new government in South America. It's my humble submission that a shift is certain and real. And that was my retort to Lazarus Joseph's post. Folks, I'm not prepared to go any further, to be ahead of myself while overthinking this development, as it is still unfolding, and we have no idea where it can go and how it can pan out. We just have to address each unfolding issue one at a time and ease up on the conspiracy theories, which only seek to frighten us, especially as geographically we are so close to that South American country, Venezuela. Folks, I am so glad that I can read, and read well and often. In fact, I cannot escape reading because of what I do for a living. I must read. I therefore choose to read stuff that can and will elevate my mental faculties. I advise those of you who love to talk, because you always have something to say, to read ahead of saying what your puny brain produces, and proceed to remove all doubt that you are dotish indeed. You see, one of the greatest things happened to me when I discovered Carl Jung, a renowned Swiss psychologist whose enduring contribution lies in his in-depth approach to psyche, bridging psychology with culture, spirituality, and the search for meaning, not just happiness, but individuation. You see, spiritually awakened people are quietly disappearing from wider society. And this is all over the world. When you become genuinely conscious, staying engaged with unconscious social patterns becomes psychologically unsustainable, tiring. But this withdrawal serves a specific purpose. It's temporary recharging that allows awakened individuals to return and offer authentic connection for those really ready for deeper relationships. You see, there is an exodus happening that most people do not recognize. The most psychologically developed individuals in your workplace, on your organizations, or on your committees, your social circles, and your family, they are quietly stepping back. Not from anger, not from superiority, but from conscious fatigue. They're just tired. Carl Jung predicted this pattern over a century ago. He understood that psychological awakening creates dimensional incompatibility. You begin to operate from a different level of awareness in the collective social environment. Maintaining that consciousness while surrounded by certain unconscious patterns requires enormous psychological energy. If you have been feeling the pull to withdraw, to need more solitude, to find social interaction, draining in ways it never used to be, Jung would say, you are not becoming antisocial. You are following an archetypal pattern that every individuating person must navigate. It's going to be hard at first, and even you may doubt yourself, but the reward for transcending oneself to that level of awareness is worth it. You see, folks, the conscious burden, why awakening creates isolation. You see, psychological development doesn't make life easier. Oh, no, it doesn't. It makes it more complex. When you begin seeing unconscious patterns operating in yourself and others, you can't unsee them. This creates what Jung's journal considers the weight of seeing. Picture yourself at a dinner party where everyone's having an animated political discussion. But you've done enough inner work to recognize that most passionate, political opinions are really psychological projections. People externalizing their internal conflicts onto social issues. We have a lot of that among us right here in Grenada. In fact, that is why it is easy for wise people among us to absent themselves from the fray. You can see from a mile how each person's childhood wounds have shaped their worldview and how their unintegrated shadow determines their enemies. You're not judging them. You've been there yourself. But you can no longer participate in the unconscious drama because you see the underlying psychological dynamics at play. You see, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But Jung's personal correspondence reveals the profound loneliness this brings. You're awake in a room full of people talking in their sleep. Folks, make that make sense. You're awake in a room full of people talking in their sleep. As one's consciousness expands during confrontation with the unconscious, of which we have many, normal social interaction becomes increasingly unbearable, not from arrogance, but from the sheer awakening within. Folks, as I proceed to wrap up our first edition of EDDIE-FICATION for 2026 and our 300th altogether, it will be remiss of me if I did not highlight the following talents among our movers and shakers of our current local political construct. First among equals, as it relates to elected members of parliament, would be Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell. A true reflection of the ultimate suitability has not presented itself in this post-revolutionary period. Deacon Mitchell's unique suitability for his role as Prime Minister is inextricably linked to his own humility and ability to think critically. I want to believe that he is a follower of Sun Tzu's teaching that strategy without tactics is the slowest route to victory. Tactics without strategy is the noise before defeat. You see, his idea to create and empower the mobilization, implementation, and transformation ministry and match that ministry with the right personality to lead and do the work says it all. Just by the way his opposers come out from all corners to attack and even attempt to sully the MIT minister tells us the choice was correct and the ministry was the right thing to do. You see, Deacon Mitchell is most suited at this time because he possesses the self-awareness to know that a leader's integrity must be operationalized. He understands being real in all circumstances to the point where he makes people around him in just every setting feel at ease. He's suited because he had the insight to institutionalize follow-through as a core governance function, not a hopeful afterthought. He is suited because he selected not a polished bureaucrat, but a grassroots dynamo like Andy J. Williams to be the relentless agent of that will. In Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, Grenada has a leader who vowed to break the cycle of dishonesty. In Minister Andy Williams and the MIT, he forged the tool to do it. Together they form a powerful dialectic, the thought and the action, the promise and the proof, the architect of trust and the engineer of results. They represent a unified front in the battle to restore the most sacred currency in a democracy, the kept word. Look at how soon his administration delivered paying the long overdue pension to retired public servants. Look at how quickly his administration regularized the situation with our police officers and their salaries, bringing them to the acceptable level of monthly remunerations. Look at the many campaign promises enshrined in his party's manifesto that were delivered. Isn't that interesting? They were delivered upon with very little left to be accomplished at such a short space of time as against the administration his NDC group replaced, which was there for so goddamn long. You see, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, therefore, stands as a unique figure in Grenada's post-independence story. He is the stern architect of a new political reality. His suitability for this moment lies in his unwavering comprehension that the nation's greatest need was not another set of promises, but a proof of concept. You see, he's rebuilding the bridge between the people and their government, plank by plank, with the timber of integrity, the nails of hard work, and the blueprint of transformative action. In a landscape once littered with broken pledges, absolute dishonesty, bubbleism, and corruption, from 1995 to 2022 for the most part, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell is building something intended to last, a government whose word is its bond and whose people's labor is their pathway to pride, as against dependency and lumpenism. Folks, let me see you put some yellow hearts there in the comment section. Come on, keep them coming, because this is irrefutable. Irrefutable. So let me see the multiples of yellow hearts. Come on. My next choice of political personality for mention is none other than MP Andy J. Williams. He is widely regarded as Grenada's Minister of Follow-Through. In our local democracy, where promise and delivery were known to be miles apart from 1995 to 2022 for the most part, he is the force tasked with closing that gap. He is the human engine in the machinery of government, the one ensuring that the Spice Isles' ambitions are not written on water, but etched into the developing landscape and the lives of its people. He's not merely a minister holding a portfolio. He is a personification of its urgent, vital mandate to organize, to act, and to deliver. That has to irk all who had the opportunity to do and failed miserably between 1995 and 2022 for the most part, because they lacked the vision. We should therefore not be surprised at their projections on him, because had they the opportunity he has through his ministerial portfolio, which he proves could work and work well in the interests of our people, they would have been siphoning off the government's funds, as they were well known for in the past. They just cannot see him not doing that, because as they think, so they are. Folks, just keep those yellow hearts coming. You see, the next member of parliament on the national radar for big mention is none other than Member of Parliament Delma Thomas, whose early decision to remove herself from the rat trap of a political party and grouping of the National Nasty Party won for her accolades through the entire national community and among the diaspora. She proved that she had more testicular fortitude than any of the men in that organization to stand up to the old nastiness and his nameless, faceless monster in the early aftermath of the defeat at the polls. You see, her subsequent decision to join the ruling NDC in short order was very strategic and not to be considered a casual alliance at all. In fact, it was a strategic alignment with an administration whose public ethos, breaking cycles of dependency, prioritizing accountability, resonated with the principles for which she had just paid a heavy price. You see, Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell's government, recognizing not just a political asset, but a kindred spirit of conviction, welcomed her. She was not merely given a seat. She was entrusted with a cabinet portfolio thereafter, a testament to the value placed on her experience and, more importantly, her proven courage. Keep the yellow hearts coming, folks. Today, Member of Parliament Delma Thomas stands as a powerful symbol of political metamorphosis. Her narrative is one of unbreakable will. She dared to ask the hard question, absorb the worst of her old could throw to her. Isn't that interesting? And emerged not diminished, but empowered in a new role. She traded the stifling loyalty of a dynasty for demanding accountability of a new era to help take Grenada forward. In doing so, she crafted a legacy that transcends party, that in Grenadian politics, the bravest act can be to break with the past, and that a woman's conscience, once awakened, is the most formidable force of all. Thelma Thomas certainly embodies national appeal and has managed to garner support from women of substance nationally and in the diaspora for standing up to the diabolical one-time leader and his nameless, faceless monster. Keep the yellow hearts coming, folks. You see, even though the story of Member of Parliament Ron Redhead is still being written, its opening chapters have proved to be nothing but epic. He is the builder politician with immense potential. It's up to him to listen, learn, and plot his way forward, especially in light of the declaration of Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell that he's only willing to serve 2 5-year terms. Ron Redhead could be one of the likely successors if he plays his cards right. His removal, whether voluntary or otherwise, from the ministry, work to formalize his studies. Isn't that interesting? It has not helped him in that realm, but has served to shore up his candidacy in the constituency where he has done tremendous work to make a difference, because he has been making a difference. You see others scrambling to follow him. You see his youthful energy just oozing effortlessly throughout the constituency, while stragglers limping to follow him. Folks, the mere fact that an outright idiot can cost a source their job by publishing his incomplete and ever-changing academic records, which must have rewarded him with a substantial out-of-court financial benefit, speaks volumes as to the lengths miscreants, dunderheads, and vagabonds are prepared to go in order to attempt to disparage his character. Member of Parliament Ron Redhead continues to demonstrate that the most sustainable development is the kind that people create for themselves. He too has shown how beneficial silence can be to noise made by attention seekers, whose very lives show perpetual southward slippage to the worst part of the Lali drain. He represents a new lineage for Grenadian leadership, one born not from political pedigree, but from proven principle and transformative action on the ground. In him, St. George's Northeast sees a faithful servant, and Grenada catches a glimpse of a possible and profoundly capable future in Ron Redhead. Last but not least, of the featured MPs today is none other than MP Tevin Andrew, who is still in his early, most formative chapters. He's a work in progress, a young minister being forged in the fiery crucible of real responsibility. His leadership was put to the test with the passage of Hurricane Beryl, a powerful Category 4 tropical cyclone that decimated his constituency of Carriacou and Petit Martinique. Look at the tremendous progress made in the recovery of those islands under his charge. Wow. Interestingly, he too has been able to deliver well-deserved promises for the people of the Sister Isles since his election as their representative in Parliament. Yes, he has had the occasional misstep, which did nothing but reveal the eager, sometimes impatient young politician beneath. But the arc of his journey is clear. He is evolving from a local champion into a national apprentice, determined to prove that the faith kayaks and Petit Martinicans placed in him was not misplaced. His success is no longer just about winning an election. It is about mastering the solemn and complex art of governance, ensuring that our beloved Sister Isle's voice is not just heard in the halls of power, but is effective there. You see, the youthful fervor is slowly being tempered into the steel of a public servant. There is no doubt that this protege is in training. Just a parting shot here, folks. I invite everyone to adopt the principle in life not to judge anyone based on rumors, especially coming from people you least expect to behave in such lowly manner. Instead, treat people with respect until their actions show you otherwise. Trust what you see and experience for yourself. I have done this all too often, in one or two cases to my peril. The writing was always on the wall, but I refused to believe what I could have interpreted and ended up getting bite up real bad. You see, silence became my response while I reflected seriously on the experience. Of course, the 2 or 3 recent cases had enough to say regarding my silent dismissal of them. But one thing I know, they are not coming back. Gone and forgotten for good. Interestingly, I don't even see them anymore. It's like they never existed. You see, during this year, 2026, appreciate all those who gossip about you folks. It's not easy for these phony characters to set aside their own flaws, just to focus on you and what they perceive yours to be. Be grateful and appreciate them, even though you keep them afar. Remember, the year just changed, and people do not switch up on a dime. To be very honest, it is a bunch of jealous spirits hidden inside people we call family and friends, roaming the earth these days. Steer clear of them. The universe always removes who and what can't go where you are headed. Goodly folks, you still have time to become the person you want to be. Just change your mindset. Elect to be a chosen one who withdraws from the noise and assume the posture for a better view where you can process and analyze from a distance without distractions. Remember, chosen ones generally live solitary lives, understanding that you can never be alone if you enjoy the company of the person you are alone with. Try it, folks. It is lovely. And let me let you in a little secret. Food tastes better. Drinks and snacks are more enjoyable. Conversations with members of your circle, and in my case, my line, are more rewarding. Discernment takes priority in your life to protect you from the rabble. Life is really more peaceful and free. And therein lies true and genuine happiness. Let 2026 take you there. 2026 is not the number that comes after 2025. Oh no, this is new. Change, folks. And let that change start with a renewing of your minds. And you will see the difference in your life. Karma sees it all and never forgets. 2026, the year of either release or more of the same. It's all up to us. Study among your head, man, folks. I am in, I am out, and I'm gone. Thanks for joining. Continue to share. See you next week at the same time, same place, for more extraordinary programming. Until then, stay safe, stay well, remain vigilant, and stay lifted. Stay focused, please. You can find me always on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Just type in my name, Edward or Eddie Frederick. Subscribe, like, and share, and be prepared to receive your mental multivitamins as directly as I deliver them. And for you authentic Grenadians, the people who just drop it as it needs to be dropped, I celebrate each and every one of you. You can count on me to support you for being authentic, because I really can't stand frauds nor fakes. It's really not necessary. So let's go through 2026 full of authenticity as we take what God has in store for us with two hands. Until next time, stay curious, stay frank, and for goodness sake, remember to set your boundaries to protect yourself. Peace and blessings, folks. Have a great, great one. Happy New Year once more, and study your heads.
Want to stay informed, get educated, and feel empowered? Stay tuned, where information is power.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.
This has been Edification, made possible by the efforts of the Center for Democracy and Good Governance, CDGG. The Center for Democracy and Good Governance is a sound organization established to promote and strengthen democracy.
I want the best for my family, so every meal has to be perfect. Every bite has to say, There's no doubt in my mind that the best in frozen meats and vegetables has to come from the Country Cold Store. Hams, turkeys, sausages, beef, pork, chicken. I just don't know my family is in safe hands. Thank you, Country Cold Store, for being there for us for the past 40 years.
There are some interesting specials available at Country Cold Store's Mini Mart while stocks last. Take advantage of these specials as they assist you to stretch your limited funds.
The Country Cool Store, providing the best in frozen meats and vegetables since 1969.
Need a personal integrity booster shot? Your prescription is right here. Tune in with Eddie Frederick every week. Information is power.
Attention all forward-thinking companies. Sure, you can do with a continuous positive boost to your image and impact your bottom line. If you think training is expensive, try not training, and you will experience a perpetual downward spiral in patronage on account of increased dissatisfied customers. Take things into your hands and engage the best at motivation and customer care training with a tried and tested track record. Visit www.efrederick.com now and learn how you can change the atmosphere in your business and improve the customer experience for everyone who does business with you. Spice Island Beach Resort and Belmont Estate are two such local entities of world renown that have benefited tremendously from ongoing customer care, social skills, and motivation training. Training changes everything for the better for any business and every team member. Enhance employee performance through increased awareness and passion for the job at hand. Greater potential in your workforce awaits you through engaged, high-energy training that works. Log on now, www.efrederick.com.
Eddie Frederick has got it all. Inspiration, motivation, great advice, and biting opinion pieces as only Eddie Frederick can deliver. Eddie Frederick has got it all.